Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future for our children.
Thank you very much, South Carolina.
God damn it, Gump! You're a goddamn genius. That's the most outstanding answer I've ever heard. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160. You are goddamn gifted, Private Gump.
What's up, YouTube? It is I, Senior Frosty, Brendan from Market Makers. That girl, that's from 2007. Okay, that's from 2007. That is when our, I think early 2000s is basically when our education system began to fall apart, such as you guys can see. But guys, we're going to keep this video lighthearted today. We have a key event tomorrow coming up. Powell is speaking again on the S&P, guys. Last time Powell spoke on our pivot pattern, Powell knocked down the market 20%. Actually, it accelerated the downfall of 20%. Previous pivot over here, nailed the top with the pivot. Powell spoke right at this top, and boom, we accelerated to the downside, 20% downfall, down into our October 13th bottom, nailed on the exact day, once again, by the pivot pattern. So all eyes are on Powell. What will he do? Well, guys, in this video, I'm going to focus on the key resistance and support levels because as we played that montage before, I have no idea what he's going to say. Is he going to try to rescue the market and be dovish? Is he going to be hawkish, as I think he should be? He should be hawkish, and we should see an acceleration to the downside in everything. Upside in DXY, upside in yields, but downside in price. So we're going to go over these charts so you guys can trade this. It's 11 o'clock Eastern time here on Thursday. Powell is speaking tomorrow at 10 a.m. I think like 10:05 a.m. Eastern time. Last video I told you guys too, I was misinformed how to fire that person. I was misinformed. So guys, I got the new Samsung watch, and my blood pressure is 120/60. It'll probably be like 140/80 by the time we're done with this. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Let's look at the VIX first. The VIX is pushing back up, 16.26. Look, if Powell is hawkish, like I think he should be, should and going to be are two different things. But if he is hawkish, I would look for the VIX to take out this high, okay? And that high is at 18.88, and you'll see that, okay? Depending on what he says, maybe today at the end of the day, we get a little bit of a rescue, market selling off. NVIDIA earnings came out last night, blew it out of the water. Their EPS was, I think 270. 2.70 versus 2.06 estimate. Revenues blew out of the water, but the market's selling off. I mean, this was something that I thought would happen, but again, this is a coin flip. You don't know. I don't trade based on coin flips. Trade based on support resistance in my macro view and then the near-term levels that we're trading at. But watch to see if the VIX takes this out. And if the VIX takes this out tomorrow or Friday, meaning you're above 19 at that point, look for an elevated volatility in the marketplace, which means more downside. Let's check out the DXY. DXY, not a strong push up today, spot 36%, spot 37 cents essentially, but you're above the 786 still. Again, if Powell is hawkish, look for the DXY to come up to 104.699, meaning it does this. And that is increased pressure on the marketplace. Let me turn my phone off so you guys get my undivided attention. So that's what I'm looking for. And again, if Powell's dovish, look for the DXY to retreat, 102.743 at the 618. As you can see on our MFI, Money Flow Index, one of our market maker indicators, you have a lot of room. You can go to the upside before you get overbought. Okay. So this will be really interesting to watch because you're going to get a lot of pressure on the marketplaces. You need to monitor the key levels. Guys, if you want to check out our Discord with 12,000 like-minded freedom-seeking individuals, we have a great staff there as well. We do live streams. A lot of people are asking questions. We do live streams. One of our traders is a harmonic trader. He focuses on harmonic patterns. We do TA, trade ideas, and it's just a fantastic community. We have a community chat where we talk about everything. Yesterday, we were talking about property values in the Midwest and stuff, random topics. And then we have the associated chats for each subject matter: market chat, Bitcoin chat, altcoin chat, all that stuff. You can check it out. The link is in the video description. You can join for free, get all of our indicators for free. If you guys want to support this channel, check out SimpleFX. If you plan on trading, get our link. With our link, you get up to a $5,000 instant bonus. That is double the normal bonus. We're the only people on YouTube that can offer you that bonus, and that is instantly available in your margin based on your deposit. You can trade commodities, Forex, obviously, Bitcoin, and a handful of cryptos, and all of the equities, guys, worldwide. It's a fantastic exchange. Most countries have zero restrictions. If you have a restriction, Proton VPN is free, boys and girls. Proton VPN is free on Apple and on, what's it called? Android, what I use. And so that's what we're at, guys. So check those things out if you want to come join us in the room. Let's look at euro dollar. Okay, Powell is hawkish, then look for the euro dollar to lose 1.0833. The euro dollar loses 1.0833. Guess where you're going? You're going to 1.0713, and you're sweeping your valley. Remember our system of valleys? And this puts you right back in the base, the core here of this previous pivot. And if this was super hawkish and everything starts really moving, then you're looking at the golden ratio 1.05604. I wouldn't anticipate getting there in a day, but looking at your MFI, you're in a bearish trend here on the money flow. And if you look at the momentum master, you are still bearish as well. Again, if Powell is dovish, look for this to retest resistance at 1.0928. Okay, guys, if you have any problems joining, as you can tell, I'm all over the place this morning. If you have any problems joining, message Lee in the Telegram. It just occurred to me because we get so many spam messages in the YouTube comments. Use our Telegram link in the video description, and you can message Lee there. Okay, and let's jump over to the 10-year. 10-year retreated some. Uptrend is the key thing here. Is obviously the uptrend is intact. Retreated some. You're at 4.219%. Hawkish Powell, I anticipate this to retest resistance 4.316. Dovish Powell, you could look for retreating. And if you retreat, you could be coming back down to 4.089. As you can see, once again, you have room to bounce up and get up here and really do some damage to the markets with a hawkish Powell. You are not anywhere near overbought yet on the 10-year. Everything is selling off. So guys, the previous videos, last Thursday, I gave you those exact targets to look for, and the Dow hit it, Bitcoin hit it, the S&P hit it, the NASDAQ hit it. And then we talked about what I expect to happen on a potential reflexive rally. And we had that reflexive rally. Is it done? That depends on Powell. But let's go over this, starting with the Dow. Reflexive rally to where? The 50. Okay, you rallied up to the 50, sold back off. 5-wave kickout, harmonic cycles complete in 5. 5-wave kickout, price fell down. Bounce back up to the 50 on the back of NVIDIA, on the back of some euphoria. A lot of people thought the market would continue up today. I thought it would too until I woke up and saw how it was struggling. But again, you're not breaking key support yet. So this video is about what's the next move in the market. You have your move down and your move up. Your move down was 34,399. You fell below it. You want to sweep these fractals. And again, I'm waiting to see what Powell does because I'm not guessing. If Powell is dovish, and remember, this is a political animal. He was appointed by Trump, then reappointed by Biden. If Powell is dovish and he wants to save the markets, you're going to have a rebound back to the upside, okay? Because if he comes out, and what does dovish mean? If Powell comes out and says, we're really happy about the progress, we're going to be data dependent. If he kind of just leaves out, it's not necessarily what he says, but also what he doesn't say. If he leaves out that the majority of members on the FOMC want to continue to raise, or that they're hawkish, if he just leaves that out, you could see a rebound, regaining these highs and coming back up. Okay, and if Powell comes out and says the U.S. data looks like it's increasing its strength, the GDP is projected to be 5.8%. That's going to get revised down, but that's what the Fed's projection is. This is the data they are looking at. If he comes out and talks about how heated up the data looks and that there's more work to be done, and then if he mentions anything about we're looking at least one more or two more rate hikes, you could look to see the market's leg down. Okay, it's in what he says that's going to be a point important, and what he doesn't say. So a little bit complex. You got to be able to hold two thoughts in your head at the same time, not like not like the person in our intro video. She's probably going to be the next head of the Fed, or she's going to be like chief equity strategist for JP Morgan. Both of those positions, I could see her in the future. So that's what I'm looking at here, guys. So if we were to sweep this fractal low with a very hawkish Powell, and if something happens at the end of the day, be aware. If the big money, right? Markets are driven by big money. If the big money expects a hawkish Powell, which they're not going to tell you, obviously, but you could see everything start just legging down this afternoon at close, right? You could see selling, but you could also see a rebound. If the BTFD boys come in and start buying the dip, you could start seeing a rebound. So you're just ranging. And this is just the Dow. 34,399 is a 618. At fractal lows, 34,238. 786 is at 34,045, which would be your next leg of support with a hawkish Powell. And then you would be flipping that, coming down to the 1 fib at 33,595. That 786 puts you right in the core of this pivot. And then you're looking at the base of your pivot, okay, for that next leg down. Let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we've been over this many, many times. 3-day chart bounced off the oversold region. We hit our exact target we talked about, 25,283, came back down, exact retest on that second candle, and now you're literally stacking candles side by side. And look at the price action. Bitcoin was up, and then Bitcoin came back down. Why? Because the markets are down. Cryptos will follow the markets, metals will follow the markets, and bubble cycles. When there is a reset, everything sells off. That's how it works, people. That upsets you, I'm sorry. This is not a safe space. This is all about reality and trading and making money. Again, the big shape we're worried about here with the potential hawkish Powell is this massive double top. Losing 25,283, that's going to be bad. Okay, it doesn't matter that you're so close to oversold. If you get a hawkish Powell and the market's dump, this will break its double top. Let's look at this on a daily. On the daily, let's go ahead and set this up the same way so we can see this. Let's move this over. Let's get our fib levels. Fib level targets here. There we go. 30,825 was our 1618. Again, this is our completion of a 5-wave harmonic pattern. Let's go ahead and draw this as well for the boys and girls at home. So I'll just use the A through E tool here. And you have this movement is one 5-wave pattern. You can look at this with your E point being up here and then your sell off, as you can see. So basically I'm tracking movements here in the marketplace. And of course, the other movement we can look at, whoops, wrong button. The other movement we can look at here is the potential retest. So let me show you this as well. This way, we can do a 5-wave kick out. 5-wave kick out like this. This is your C. This is your D, and we'd be looking for something, right? If Powell is dovish, we're looking for this to come back up, maybe 27,722, maybe even higher, depending how dovish Powell is, right? But if Powell is hawkish, maybe that's your E point, okay? Maybe that's your E point. So harmonic cycles complete in sets of 5s. So this is something that I'm paying attention to. But again, 25,283, you can see how key support this is. Literally hit it at 25,307. So within whatever that is, $15, $20 on a $25,000 asset. really, really good idea of how strong and how necessary this support level is. If you lose this, guys, again, I would be looking for Bitcoin to lose 25.2. If it loses the 25.2 and breaks this with any type of momentum, right? You have to have momentum, not just a down thrust and then a bounce up. You have momentum, then you're looking for Bitcoin to do what? Come back down and retest this pivot area. So this is also the top of your pivot down here. This is where you're bouncing off of, right at the 1 fib. But if you retest this, you're looking at the 618 at 21,858 back down towards your core. And guys, basically, if you lose this double top, let me zoom out some so you can see this a little bit better, this macro market structure. If you lose this double top and it breaks, I know people do this stupid thing and they put the trend line here because they read a Bulkowski book once when they were 8 years old and that's how you're supposed to do measured moves. I get it. Doesn't matter. I'm telling you from the macro perspective, if you break this double top with velocity, you're going to come down and retest 15.5, ultimately sweeping 15.5, going to 12, 13K. Okay. That's Mr. Frosty's prediction because that's where what I think is going to happen with a hawkish Powell. Without a hawkish Powell, erase that. Not going to happen, at least not right this minute. So a lot is riding on what Powell does. Again, looking at the daily, you got dramatically oversold here. You have momentum switching back to the upside. Man, I mean, I wish if I knew what Powell was going to be doing, we would be having a party on my future yacht right now because you could trade everything knowing what Powell's going to do. If you knew he's going to come out dovish, you would be buying right now because everything's going to reflexively move to the upside. If you knew he's going to come out super hawkish, I would be shorting all these tops we had this morning, knowing that everything's going to move down. But I don't know. And I'm sure many people will guess, and some people are going to be right, and they'll talk about how smart they are on X, right? They'll be like, oh, I knew it. I knew it. I had an Elliott wave pattern worked out perfectly. Yeah, well, you didn't understand what was happening with the actual macro, and that's going to drive everything. So looking at the S&P, guys, what happened here? So the 50 and what is that? The 21? Yeah, I think that's the 50 to 21. So the 50 to 21 to 100. Yep. So the 50 to 21, we bounced right back up, riding the back of NVIDIA, euphoria back in the marketplace, got to our 486 at 44.69, ran into the 50, ran into the 21, big rejection. Uptrend on the daily, still intact. Your 100, which is the base of this previous pivot over here, is at 43.31.6 aligned with this fractal. So yes, you're higher up at 44.13, dovish Powell. Look for this to come back up, retest the 50, retest the 21, and then you want to watch these levels. The 618 is at 45.05, okay? Because tomorrow could be a whipsaw. You could have a rally up before Powell, then a dump, and then a pump. You could have a pump and then a dump. You know the game, guys. It's just like the CPI days, okay? Depends what the market wants to do. Depends what the bias is in the marketplace. Powell can say one sentence and then the market rallies in that one sentence and then follow it up with two hawkish sentences and then the market dumps. So it's going to be a tricky event. Key levels are important. You were rejected at 44.69, right at the 486, right at the moving averages. If you can flip those, you're looking at 45.05, 45.51, and then you're getting back up close to your high in the rally. If you lose this, which with a hawkish Powell, then look at 43.31. And guys, again, we've been over this. We're going to look at the other chart. If you lose 43.31, you have more ground to give up. We've been over this here on this chart, but let's go ahead and do this once again. Where will this go? You fell out of your inner channel. If you lose that fractal, you lose this pivot. So you have your fractal lined up beautifully down here with the base of your pivot. You have the 1272 at 43.16, but you're going to go through that with a hawkish Powell, okay? And you're coming down to 42.36 on the S&P. This is also where the channel bottom, remember if we zoom out here, I know some people have very short memories, but the channel bottom down here, you lose 42.36. Where are you going? 4,000. You're going to 4,000. If you lose 4,000, and I'm saying if, because it all hinges on Powell, right? But if you lose 4,000, that is your downfall. That is your downfall to go retest your low, which I think was 35, I don't know, 3583, 3,583, something like that. 3,555 maybe, but you're going to 3,200 at that point if you lose 4,000. Where am I looking to potentially trade this personally? I'm looking to see what Powell does. And if Powell is hawkish, then I'm going to look at some breakdowns as price is falling, maybe in a smaller time frame, but definitely looking at these key levels, 43.36. I don't know how the day is going to finish. It's still plenty of hours of trading. 4,411, but I would look for 43.79 to try to give you some level of support. But if you end up down here today, right, you end up down in this quadrant, well, this is pretty easy. If Powell's super hawkish, I'm going to try to catch that break of the pivot, catch that break of the fractal, and trade it accordingly, knowing that I do believe we're going to be descending to at least 42.36 to see the market reaction. And guys, if you come down to that level, just remember, nobody in the market, I mean the big money, they're not prepared for that. They're all talking about buying the dip. Why do you think price is rising up? You're looking at that point at an 8% retracement. Now, remember, our two largest retracements during this rally up that we traded both of those in the room were like 8.41 and like 8.50. So this 8% would be normal for what we've had in this rally for a strong retracement. But losing 42.36 would not be normal, and you would be breaking down to 4,000, a 13% retracement Fibonacci. And then, of course, if you lose 4,000, again, going down to retest your lows. At that point, momentum to the downside is super strong. Our next pivot is not till October again, so you have time. CPI print September 13th is expected to be higher. There's catalysts lining up if they come in the way that they're supposed to come in, and if Powell does what I think he will do, which is be hawkish to try to beat back the economy, but you can never underestimate the election cycle as well. So spectator at this point, we know where the key resistances are. Watching it and try to trade the breakdown if in fact we do break down. If we start rallying up, again, you got to be patient, guys. Got to be patient to see if you can defeat your 50, defeat your key moving averages. Look at the NASDAQ. Massive move up on the back of NVIDIA euphoria, right? You have to, back in the .com, I mean, we went up 3%. Back in .com, Cisco, which everybody said you can't have the internet without Cisco, right? Cisco is the biggest company in the world, the biggest company in the world. And this is the dawn of the internet, right? This is when I had net zero free internet, and we had dial up, I think, at my with my first roommate in university. And he had AOL Mail and all that fun stuff, AIM. But life was simpler back then. I think I traded in my pager for a Primeco phone. But Cisco is the biggest company in the world. It made its all-time high at the .com peak, and to this day has not touched that all-time high. To this day, even with the longest bull run in stock market history, has not hit that high. And will NVIDIA follow the same path? I don't know. I find it hard to believe that the hardware company in the AI race is going to be the big winner long term, but for now it is. They make the chips. I think it's going to be somebody that really utilizes this, probably gets it to the level where it turns on us and kills all of us. But I think that's a real threat. I mean, if I had billions of dollars, I would start a company called Skynet, because we all know how this is going to end. But looking at the NASDAQ, 14,962, we came up to where the 618, most commonly retraced to fib. 618, also the base of the Wyckoff, got rejected, got above the 50. I think that's his 50. Yep, got above the 50, got rejected, 15,334. This thing's still dropping as I'm recording. It's down 2.32%, the NASDAQ right now. So it's dropping. It's going to try to come down and hold a level, and then we're going to see what Powell does. And at this point, guys, remember I told you last video, anything up to a 618 retracement is a strong bias to the downside for continuation. If you show rejection and you have strength in that rejection, which I think you can clearly see in the NASDAQ, you do right now, can be overridden by Powell, and you see this come back up. But also, if Powell comes out hawkish, then you want to watch your base at 15,552, because you're going to see this breakdown and sweep that base, right? That's what you're going to see happen. So very important to watch the NASDAQ, very important to watch Powell, and we can all see what Powell decides to do. So if we look at this pivot out here, You can see our 1272 held up beautifully, 14,663, which, depending how much this drops today, I can't imagine it's going to double its drop from here. So I'm looking for support somewhere around here, just below where it is, 14,935-ish in this area, maybe a little bit lower if you hold this area. So you're stacking candles side by side, but that's your next leg down, 14,663. And when you break through that with a hawkish Powell, if that's what you get, if you break through that, tomorrow, the day after, early next week, look for 14,316. Okay. That's your next level down with a hawkish Powell. Let's look at the Russell. Russell also falling down. Small caps. Russell, all these indices are going to show oversold, guys. This is what I was talking about, right? The indicators, so many people rely on indicators to trade, and I get it. I use MFI, obviously. I use momentum. But these will not matter in key catalyst events, such as the pandemic sell-off, such as bubbles bursting, okay, such as Powell potentially sending the market down on a massive down move, or Powell rescuing the market. So you are oversold on your MFI. Doesn't mean the Russell can't crater, okay? So what you want to look at is your key levels when you're watching Powell. And you want to see how the market reacts. 1831 is your fractal low here for this up move. You start sweeping 1831. You're at the base of your pivot. Your ceiling of Wyckoff at 1818. You start sweeping this. You're coming back down. If you come back down, guys, I have the Russell going to 1701. That's a $150 drop from where it is right now, okay? Doesn't mean it's happening tomorrow. This could take a week. This could take 2 weeks. It could take 3 days to play out. I don't know. I don't know what Powell's going to say. You notice a theme? You notice a caffeine-induced theme here? I don't know what Powell's going to do or say. At this point in our cycle, it's literally a coin toss. Powell pretends to be Volcker, right? He always invokes Volcker's name when he talks about the fight with inflation, but this is an election cycle. His guy is behind. His guy has the headwinds of an economy cratering. By the way, the European numbers came out for economic health, and Germany, some of the economic activity indicators are down at the GFC. The GFC numbers are coming up, okay? So again, Germany, Europe on the cusp of cratering, China on the cusp of cratering. Yet you watch TV, you watch Bloomberg, you watch Can Never Be Correct, CNBC. All they talk about is, well, China's not that bad. We don't see any contagion. Europe, Europe's worse off than we are. We're the shining economy on the hill. Guys, all of the articles that came out in the GFC and .com all said the same thing. The Fed can stick a soft landing. Ben Bernanke himself at the GFC told the American people, told Congress, we foresee a soft landing based on our strong economic health in this country. We don't believe that there is a need for a recession. And we had a global collapse. And just 2 years ago, Ben Bernanke won a Nobel Prize for economics. Make this up. Now I sound like Manarino. Make this up. You can't make this up, guys. This is the world that we live in. A guy who caused the greatest financial collapse in world history, probably net trillions of effect, because it affected the whole globe, wins a Nobel Prize for economics, and they still go to him on CNBC for his opinion, as if anybody cares what his opinion is. But that's what I'm seeing here on the Russell. Looking at Apple also falling down, guys. Everything's pulling down. Obviously, 177.95. Watch 176. Your next big level down will be 169 if you start breaking down with any velocity. Tesla, like we talked about, came up. This is a move we were talking about. This is not a strong retracement, by the way. But if you get a hawkish Powell, watch for Tesla to break down below 223, break out this channel, and then you got to look at your fib levels from where you're at here, guys. And that next level I'd be looking at on Tesla would essentially be 193.23. You want to hold 215 to stay in this channel, essentially. You break below that, you're looking at 193.23. And obviously you have resistance to the upside if you get a dovish Powell. Let's look at the French 40. Same thing, guys. You had an up day, and then the market sold off. So now you have a down day. 72.16 French 40 key support level here you want to watch is 7,083. You've got multiple down thrusts in this region. Every time you test it, you've been able to pop back up, and you're right here at 72.16. So you want to watch that area. You flip it, you get your pivot down to the downside. You can trade that breakdown in the French 40. MFI got rejected basically at the median line. The DAX, same thing, guys. The DAX fell out of its uptrend channel, and look what it's putting. It's putting in what could be a double bottom. That could be bullish, or it's going to break down, right? Got rejected at the channel. Want to watch the DAX below 15,465. This is a key fractal low here in this chop trading range. If you cannot hold 15,465, want to see a breakdown, potential pop-up retest, and then a breakdown, your Livermore pivot to the downside. That candle, whatever that fractal is, if you get that movement, that candle could be a key trigger for more downside to trade on a breakdown to the downside. Let's check out gold. Gold popped up because the markets were initially popping up. Gold holding at 1920. Let's look at this to the upside. Let's see what we get on gold here. I'm going to go from the second top here. And you just came up to the 382, 1922, the very basic minimum retracement you could do. Okay, so I know everybody's bullish on gold is going to be super excited about this move. This is the basic bare minimum retracement, which can easily turn into a strong move back down to the downside. And it doesn't have to, but if it comes up, you want to watch 1932, 1945. It's going to follow the markets, guys. So those are the levels you want to watch at resistance. And if we do get a hawkish Powell, look for this thing to really move down with the marketplace. Again, gold's not oversold and it's not overbought. It's somewhere in between on the bearish side. Momentum is still bearish, but pointing more towards the upside, which makes sense with the trend. Silver put on a big move yesterday as well, holding at 24.21. Key resistance above you, 24.59. And then where you got rejected before this big sell-off at 25.27. Okay, silver's holding up for whatever reason. I'm sure there's plenty of channels that can tell you their opinions on that. But again, I would watch this move to the downside. And the key area you want to hold, you can see it's been tested twice and held. The 618, 22.29. You lose a 618, you're going down to your 21.24, putting you back down towards the base of this pivot, okay? So that's a big move, guys. And silver, as you know, I mean, this is only a $22 asset. This is a huge move if you come down from 24 down to your key support level, or your key support level here is an 8%, 8.31% move. And then the level beneath that is a 13% move to the downside. So since silver's holding up good, and so is gold, these are assets I'm going to watch with Powell, because you're already getting sell-offs in these other assets, right? The Dow's down, everything's down. Their metals are holding up. Obviously, they're going to hinge on what Powell says. These may be the types of things you can jump on in a smaller time frame if you see a good reaction one way or the other, because they're holding up nicely at the time of this recording. 31 minutes in, Mr. Frosty is starting to melt, and I'm sure my blood pressure is going up. Monday's video, we're going to put a lot of more, edits. We'll cover some news around the world and markets and kind of mix it up on Mondays for you guys. Thursdays, I had this intention of getting you out the door, but it's still 31 minutes. Get some Cheetos, get Diet Coke, because you got to cut down on the carbs, even though you're having your Cheetos. And I'll talk to you guys. Have a fantastic weekend. Talk to you guys Monday.